the Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Financial Survival Network is presented to you by Regal Assets. Buy and sell physical gold and silver through your existing retirement plan, 100% tax-free with Regal Assets. If you want to include physical gold or silver in your existing IRA or old 401k, request your free investment kit, which was recently featured in the Forbes and Smart Money Wall Street Journal magazines. Call toll-free 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620, or visit regalassets.com. You are listening to the financialsurvivalnetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1590 WPSL, and it's time for another Triple Lutz report. I've gotten a number of emails from you out there questioning how important Cyprus really is. How big a deal is it? Does it really matter? And is it going to affect the United States? Now, I want to look at the Cyprus debacle from a different point of view than most people out there are looking at it. And that is, government is getting to a point where it will have to renege on promises that it has made to you. It will have to renege on your Social Security, on your Medicare, on your Medicaid, on your deposit insurance. You name it, it's going to be reneging. Maybe on your national defense, maybe on your police protection, maybe on your garbage collection. Look, they've already done it in Detroit. Look at Detroit. There's areas where a garbage collection truck is seen about as much as the Maytag repairman. They just don't perform basic services. And as this thing goes on, as this financial collapse, which is worldwide in scope, which started in 2008, and it's pretty much been picking up steam ever since, regardless what the mainstream media tells you. As it progresses, promises that the government made to you are going to be reneged upon. They've guaranteed your pension. Well, they're going to renege on that. They guarantee the amount of money that you have in a brokerage account up to $1.2 million. Guess what? They're going to renege on that as well. You name it. Any place where the government has made a guarantee, has made assurances to you about your future, about what they're going to do for you, they're going to renege on it. Now, what's interesting is that the Cyprus government, the Cypriot government, tried to renege on deposit guarantees, and they knew they were going to have a revolution on their hands because anybody holding less than 100,000 euros, equivalent of what then was about $130,000, today it's about $128,000, anybody holding those accounts was going to take a 7% haircut. And the people would just not put up with it. In the U.S., in Europe, deposit guarantees, I think it's $250,000 now in the U.S. They were, for a time after the financial crisis, giving unlimited guarantees on daily transactional accounts, what they called. I guess that applied to large corporations. And now, last week, they've done away with that guarantee. I know that for municipalities, for governmental entities in New York, when they deposit funds with a bank over the amount of the guarantee, they are required by law to go out and get a letter of credit, I guess from another bank or financial institution, guaranteeing their deposit that's on deposit with the bank. And it's kind of a belt and suspenders approach. It's not really going to do a heck of a lot of good if all the banks collapse, because the bank that they got the letter of credit from guaranteeing their funds on deposit with a large too-big-to-fail bank isn't going to be able to pay off that letter of credit anyway. much as you've seen happen with bond insurance, where the bond insurers basically went broke after the collapse because they had insured a zillion different exotic bond contraptions, CDOs, collateralized debt obligations squared. I don't even know what they are. I only know how bad it got hit because one of the major ones, MBIA, was a major taxpayer in the town where I used to live. So you've got to look at any guarantee that you are relying upon in the future, that you are counting on, whether it's Social Security, whatever, that it's in jeopardy. Okay, this was the first time they tried to pull back on it. They got burned. But the other way that they pull back, quite simply, is through the stealth tax of inflation. So, like I said before, perhaps they aren't going to allow bank runs in the street because there would be blood in the street. But instead, they'll just print up whatever they need to come up with, and you'll get your money, but your money will be worth a lot less if it's worth anything. And that's kind of what Charles Nenner is predicting. A collapse of the dollar brought on by higher interest rates. And it's going to be profound. The change in your life, the change in all of our lives, we're going to have to rely upon ourselves. You're going to have to rely upon your family, your community, your neighbors, and they're going to have to be relying on you much more. And if you haven't done it already, go over to PrepareWise, get yourself some emergency preparedness food. I'm urging you to do this, all right? Yeah, they're a sponsor. I make a little bit of money off of it. That's not the point here. Believe me, I'm not retiring on sales of PrepareWise. I promise you that. You got to have this stuff. I've got about, either in my house or on my way now, about 4 or 5 months supply of food for 2 people. And I've got water. I'm trying to keep 10, 20 gallons of water on hand at all times. A lot of things you need to be doing. Another interesting trend that's happening. Now, if you've been listening to this show for any amount of time, especially after this winter, I've been ribbing you a lot about how beautiful the Floridian winter was and how awful your winter probably was if you're above the, if you're in the Northeast, above the Carolinas. You had a horrible winter and you're still having it. In fact, if you're like a lot of my friends in New York, you probably want to lynch the groundhog. They're out there looking for those woodchucks. I think a woodchuck is the same as a groundhog, but hey, leave the poor groundhog alone. He's just a civil servant. Hopefully, he'll never get a pension because the pensions are all underfinanced and they're going broke. But look, great article, what I saw in the paper the other day, hedge fund managers moving to Florida, particularly to my neck of the woods, Palm Beach County. And they're moving there in droves. And guess why they're moving there? Because it's an indirect result of the Obama tax increases. Because now their tax rate went from 34%, 35% to close to 40%. And then they've gotten hit with large local tax increases, especially in New York and Connecticut. So they're throwing in the towel. They're voting with their feet, just like I told you they do, just like I did to some extent. I mean, I'm not saving a fortune in taxes here. I had other lifestyle considerations that came into account when I made the decision to move. But these guys, man, you make $50 million a year and you save $10 million in taxes. That's $50 million, that's $5 million a year. And in New York, you could be paying upwards of 10%, $5 million a year. And if you're in New York City, you'll be paying a combined rate of 13%. So that's $6.5 million a year. Can you imagine the spread that they can buy in Palm Beach on the island for $6.5 million? You get a little bit more than you get in New York. Plus, there's a huge surplus of office space on the Palm Beach County market. And Florida hasn't even put together any incentives to lure these people down. The math is all the incentive that they need. And it might be all that you need. Now, I'm not telling you to move. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody moves for different reasons. Everybody stays where they are. You're staying where you are for reasons partly economic, partly dealing with your family, whether, different things that you come to like and things that are important to you. That's why you stay where you are. But I will tell you this, you just have to look at the census numbers and you see people moving to low, no tax states. Okay? They're moving from California to Nevada to Arizona. Nevada, in spite of the horrible economy there, they're still moving from California because people don't want to pay 13% tax in California. They don't want to pay it. And who can blame them? And they're moving to Texas. My son lives in the Austin Metroplex area there, Austin metropolitan area, and that city has seen the highest increase in population as a percentage since 2010 of any city in the country. And if you like Austin, it's a great place. But the point here is you can negate the increase in the federal tax rates by simply moving to a state that has no state income tax if you're in a high tax state. And they're doing it. And in my opinion, it's good. It's going to bankrupt these high tax states, and it's going to force them to undertake fundamental change. It's going to force them to destroy the public employee unions, which can't happen a moment too soon. Now, there's still plenty of problems in Texas and Florida. They're racing to insolvency, just not quite as fast as New York and Illinois and California, but they are on the way there. Their deficits, structural deficits, are huge. Their pension plans are underfunded. And right now in Florida, they're trying to reform the public pensions and get people into 401k type programs. We'll see how successful they are there. California, it's going broke. And just today I read some former county supervisors getting $420,000 a year in pension. And that's absurd. It's unsustainable. They're going to go bankrupt. Let them spend faster than they can collect. The faster they do that, the sooner they go bankrupt, the sooner they're forced to reform. But of course, they'll be firing cops and firemen before they get rid of the real leeches, the real parasites that are really sucking up the bulk of the money. But it's going to happen. These things take time. They don't happen overnight. You need to be prepared for it. This is inevitable. Just like I told you, been telling you that the current international financial system is unsustainable, so is the current state financial system, the U.S. system, that allows certain states to collect huge amounts of taxes and other states to collect less, and forces people to move from high tax states to low tax states. It's unsustainable. You're going to see a huge meltdown in all likelihood in the municipal bond market. They've probably been bailing it out Bernanke's probably been doing it through the back door for years now. We'll never know because there's nothing as opaque as Federal Reserve accounting. But I can tell you this, that over the long haul, municipal bankruptcies are going to be the way things go, just like Cypriot banking collapse is the crack in the wall of European banking and finance. You will see Detroit going bankrupt and a number of other large cities going to shatter municipal finance, force these unions out of business, and force these people to be paid a reasonable amount of money and get rid of the dead wood. God knows, you go into any government office, 2/3 of the people are not working. And I'm not taking back on that. I won't back off on that statement. If you go into your average, typical government office, man, the people are moseying about. They're BSing the day away. They always seem to be on a coffee break. Yeah, there's some of you out there that work hard. 20% or 10% keep the whole thing going. I'm talking about the 80% that are just wards of the state, governmental employment. It's just another form of welfare. So get ready for the collapse. I don't know when it's going to happen. I think we've got some time to go, but I think it's picking up speed now. I think you can see it picking up speed. And whether gold and silver go up now or next month or in 6 months, it's irrelevant to me. You need to be getting it now. Go over to regalassets.com, regalassets.com. Tell them Kerry sent you. Same thing with PrepareWise. Use the code Lutz, L-U-T-Z. Thanks so much for listening. This has been another Triple Lutz Report. Kerry Lutz, signing off.